Welcome to another session of Rock Your Talk. I'm Leisa Reid with Get Speaking Gigs Now and Productive Learning. At Get Speaking Gigs Now, I coach speakers on how to get booked, stay booked, and attract their clients through speaking. And I also have the honor of being a trainer and coach for Productive Learning, where we teach people how to actually increase their self-awareness through discovery and facilitated self-discovery. When you're learning that phrase, like, oh, what you think about, you bring about, we actually teach you how to do that. How would you actually change your thinking? How would you change your beliefs and start to really become aware of that so you can have more extraordinary experiences in your life? Today, our guest is Dana Green. Welcome, Dana. Hello.
Hi, good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And then Dana, tell us a little bit about your expertise.
Well, I'm an estate planning attorney. I'm licensed in California, New York, and Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
I've had my own practice for the past 10 years, and I help people prepare for the unexpected.
That's right. And I think you're sharing your 3 tips today are about doing exactly just that, right? Preparing for the unexpected. I'm so glad you're going to be sharing that, because I know this is not common knowledge for everybody, even though you might think, oh, everyone knows this. No, we don't. We need your help. So what's your first tip you're going to share with being prepared for the unexpected?
Well, the first tip is that if you live in California, if you own real estate or you have minor children, you need to have a revocable living trust. If you don't already, that's something you need to look into.
And they could reach you for that, right? And we're going to share, we'll share your website so that people know how to get that right away, because that is important, right? Because, and you can share more on this, but what I know is that just a lay person who's not an attorney is that if you don't have that and, something happens or you're no longer on this earth,
the unexpected,
then the government gets a large portion of your estate. Is that correct?
Well, not exactly.
Yeah,
it goes
tell
through
us
probate. Yes, if you don't have a revocable living trust, then your estate will go through probate. And the reason that in California it's so important is that our real estate is so expensive. So if it's over like $166,000 of value, $166,250 to be exact, then it would go through probate. So it's hard to find any real estate at that level. Below that level, you don't have to worry. But it's,
and so people understand because I know that probate, you don't want to do that, but why is that? What does that mean if you go through probate? And what happens?
Going through probate basically is going through a court process to determine who gets what of your assets. And there's a statute that sort of defines who's the proper relatives or whatever that would get your property. But it takes a long time. It could take 9 months to a year. It could take maybe 2 years. Who knows? We don't even know, because the courts have been so, congested and closed. And it takes a long time. It's very costly. That's the big thing. So for instance, if your whole estate was valued at, say, $500,000, your home, anything you own, your furniture, your jewelry, your possessions, all of it all together, your bank accounts, if it was like $500,000, sorry, the probate cost on that alone is like $26,000.
Yeah, and so it's like it's not liquid. It's not like you have $500,000 in the bank in that scenario. You have $500,000 in assets. So they charge you a percentage of that. And if you're the person who's the family member who's left, they're like, give us our money, even though this isn't liquid assets, right? And that's where it gets really tricky.
And what's really, really important is that if you own real estate, a $500,000 house and a $400,000 mortgage, you think that you don't own enough to matter because you think your equity is only $100,000, but that's not the way it works. It's based on the market value. So the person who has that situation where, say, they only have the $500,000 house, it's a really nice, great asset, but they owe $400,000 on the house, they're still going to have to pay $26,000. So that's going to come out of their $100,000 equity. So it's really, really going to affect them the most.
Okay.
And those are the people that don't even know.
Yeah. You heard it here first. Get one. What's your second tip? What's your second tip?
The second tip is that anybody over the age of 18 even needs estate planning documents. It's a pretty big fallacy that you have to be old and wealthy to do estate planning. Okay. So there's certain estate planning documents, and I'll tell you what they are, that once you turn 18, you need. And they're a healthcare directive. In California, it's called an advanced healthcare directive. A power of attorney, usually it's a durable power of attorney for financial, any other things that aren't medical related, and then a blanket HIPAA authorization. And the reason for this is that the HIPAA laws are what prevent doctors and facilities that provide medical care from sharing your information with anybody, including your parents, if you're 18. And it's just a very important thing that people are not as aware of, because my kids' generation, my kids are 30 and 31, and their generation is the first to be affected by this because the HIPAA laws became effective in 1996. And so when we were growing up, our parents could have access to that. If we had an accident and we're unconscious, didn't have to be like, let you die. It's all about like helping you in your incapacitated state.
Mm-hmm.
And if we, you know, I mean, our kids, this started when my son was in college and a roommate of his had a burst appendix. And the kids rushed him to the hospital, didn't know what was wrong. He went into emergency surgery and the doctors wouldn't tell the parents what was going on. And the kids were just roommates. They didn't know. And the parents had to drive 9 hours not knowing. I mean, they knew enough to know he didn't have a car accident. They knew enough to know he wasn't like on drugs or something like that, but they didn't know what was going on. And he could have died in surgery.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah, I
so
had a friend like that too,
super
where she
important.
was saying she all of a sudden she can't make his appointment. She can't make her son's doctor's appointments and things like that. And because he was 18. And so to your
Right.
point, they're still kids sometimes, you know, it's like
Right.
they're
And
legally adults, they're still kids.
And it's especially important when we have COVID right now, because as we know, it's even affecting the younger people right now. It's kind of like the new age bracket is like, you know, teens to 20s, say. And if they became unconscious or like couldn't speak and for some reason, the doctors won't let you visit. Well, now you can't visit anyways, but they won't let you know what's happening. They won't let you have those FaceTime type things or anything.
That's great.
So it's really important, and it's most important for the young adults, obviously, because they're the less equipped to deal with these emergencies.
Sure.
They need their parents, even though they turn 18 or 19, they're still unexperienced in it. And medical stuff is really hard to decipher sometimes, even for adults. And then it's important also to think of it if you become a widow, because you might have done these documents with your spouse and suddenly you don't have that spouse and you have maybe a backup successor, but that person might be invalidic and you don't, you know, you got to keep on top of it. And if you're widowed, you need to look at it, make sure that you have at least 1 or 2 people named. I prefer 2, but at least 1.
Sure.
And then if you get a divorce in California, the divorce will void the documents you have, so you need to redo them. So now obviously you might not want your ex to be your agent on these powers. Even if you wanted them to, they're pretty much a void document, so you need to redo them.
Okay.
So those are certain categories, but spouses get a little bit of leeway. Like if you're married, the doctors will talk to the spouse, but it's still a good idea to have these documents because they're much more than just talking to the doctor in an emergency. They tell what your wishes are and the type of care that you want. And even for spouses, it's a lot easier if something were to happen to them to be able to follow your direction when you've had that discussion and you know, and you're not like pulling the plug on somebody. You're doing what they want.
Right.
And then you feel a little better. So
yeah,
for everybody, it's important.
wow. What's your third tip that you were going to share with us about being prepared?
Okay, the third tip is that a lot of times people have gotten their revocable living trust and they think they're fully prepared, but they're not, because the trust has to be funded. It's like an empty shell until it's funded. And funding means that you're changing the title on your assets to be the name of the trust, like so that it's considered part of the trust.
Like your home and your bank
Your
account.
home has to be retitled, and there's a process for that. I do all that for my clients when I'm doing their trust, but sometimes that's not done for them. And some of the funding I do let the clients do, depending on what it is. Like if it's a bank account, I give them the information of what they need and they can transfer it, but I can help them also. It depends. But some people just don't do it. It's like they're given the direction from the attorney to take care of this. And then once they leave the attorney's office, it's like, oh my God, we signed it. We're done. We're done. And then they forget that they have all this to do to make it work the way it's designed.
Wow. Good tip. Yeah. That's
And
a great
especially,
tip.
it also comes up, even if you've done it properly and say your house is in the trust, sometimes when you refinance, the lender makes you take the house out of the trust, and oftentimes it's not put back in and you don't realize that it's not put back in.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it's just very important anytime that you have any sort of dealing like that you speak with your attorney, make sure that it's back in. If you need help, the attorney will help you, but you need to take care of it. And sometimes it's really simple.
So I imagine there's people who are listening right now who are like, oh my gosh, I totally need to get my ducks in a row. Where would they find you, Dana?
And I give another tip. I give another tip. They may not know if it's in the trust again. And the way that you can tell that is if it's your home, you look at your property tax bill. And if the property tax bill has just your name and doesn't say like as trustee of the trust, then it means it's not in the trust.
Okay. So that's a good thing to look for.
You can check
So
on
look
that
on that
yourself.
property bill. And then how would they find you? How would they?
My website is Dana at DanaGreenLaw.com. That's DANA Green, GREEN, law, LAW.com.
So DanaGreenLaw.com.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So you got to go there and check out, get in touch with Dana if any of those things aren't taken care of which this has been a great reminder and update for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to get this taken care of. So I have one other question for you that, because we're on the Rock Your Talk show. So I got to ask, what's your favorite like rock band or rock singer, maybe in your top 5?
Oh my God, I don't even know who my rock star singer is. My favorite's Elton John. Is that considered rock?
Yeah, sure, of course.
He's my absolute favorite.
Oh, good. Yeah, he is awesome. That's so cool. I love Elton John too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, for those of you listening, remember to subscribe so you can keep getting all these great expert tips like what Dana Green has offered us today. These are really helpful for your business, for your life, for all different aspects. So make sure and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And then if you let us know what you liked about it. What did you learn? We want to hear from you. So meanwhile, I will see you on the next one. Remember to be kind. Be kind to yourself, be kind to somebody else, and make it an amazing day.